Hello, hello, it's probably Sharon. I'm here today to show you how to create this single page signature with an extra wide spine to create this awesome layout with all of this goodness packed inside. There's a lot of room to put a lot of things. And so this is kind of mercantile themed, but of course you can use it for any theme. But like I said, there's an extra wide spine so that you can accommodate all of this to be packed inside. And I will walk you through how to make this. You have lots and lots of writing space, lots of pockets. So let's get started, guys. Some of the pieces that I'm going to be using in this project today came from a digital that I have on Etsy, and I will put the link below. It's basically 2 sheets of little Mercantile type tags and then 2 backgrounds that you can print off separately, or you can back the tags with them. So I'll put the link below for those. Okay, to start off with the page itself, I'm just using a dyed piece of paper that I have. It's a little heavier. I would say it's cardstock. And on this, it's going to be 1 page for this signature. And I know usually you put several pages in a signature, but this particular signature is going to have a lot of bulk to it. So I am going to put a little margin on the spine. So it's not just going to be folded in half. We're going to actually put a little half-inch spine on it to kind of accommodate for everything that's going to be inside of the pages. So you don't have to do it like that. You could totally just fold it in half like normal. But I just kind of wanted to show you a different way than what we normally see. So this is a 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to score it at 5 1/4, and then again at 5 3/4. And so that's going to give us, our pages will be 5 1/4, and then we have a 1/2 inch spine. So just make sure that those creases are folded. And of course, you could do this with pages that are already in a journal. I'm doing this one before I bind it, so you could do it either way, really. And like I said, you don't have to put the margin, but I figured it would help with the bulk that we're going to have in here. Okay, so next I have, I got this on Amazon, and it's, what size was this? 17 inches by 11, so it's almost like having 2 8.5 by 11s, but it's one continuous sheet. I'll put the link for that below if you're interested. It's cardstock. The reason I'm using this is I'm going to make like a accordion fold for one of the pages, and this will give me 4 pages. Of course, you could always just use a regular 12 by 12 and fold it, have 3 4-inch sections, but I'm going to have 4 4-inch sections, so I need to first cut it on a diagonal, and I'm just going to kind of give myself some little marks. Not really measuring it. I don't want it to be, totally the size of the height of the page, but maybe half, a little more than half. So I'm just putting 2 marks, and I'm just going to cut. I know you can't see this. I'm going to cut from here all the way down to my other little mark on a diagonal. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just used scissors and cut that. So I'll put this section aside. I could probably use that for something else later. So now I have this long tapered piece, and I'm going to score it at 4 inches. So every 4 inches. And of course, we're going to have 1 inch left over, but we will cut that off. And we just kind of do it like an accordion fold. Then you'll see I have an inch here at the end that I'll just snip off. Okay, so it'd probably be a good idea to maybe ink the edges to make it stand out a little bit. So I'm going to place that here. Okay. So for this section, I'm going to make a flip out. This is one from the digital. And I have a margin on this, because it was a printable. It has a white margin around the edges. So we'll just have to make sure to trim that off. And I think I will make it, I'll have to get my page back over here so I can see. So I have this much room here. Well, that's what? About 3 3/4 of an inch. Maybe I'll do like 3. Then of course I need to trim the edges off, these white borders. I'll just fold that in half. Trim that. Okay, that should work fine. So again, I'm going to ink around the edges of this. Okay, so I just inked around this side of it and then on the inside a little bit. And for this one, I want to put something kind of here before I glue this down. So I'm going to put a little bit of washi tape just to give it a little more interest. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of it just to help it stay down. All right, now I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch along this edge and sew it to the page itself, and I will be right back. Okay, you can see I just stitched here, so it's just being held on there. Then I'm going to glue on the other side right here so I can make it into kind of a corner pocket. Okay. Let's put my ink there. Okay, now for this one, I'm going to glue 3 sides so that it can be a little pocket if we want it to be. All right, I think I'm just going to let that sit for a couple minutes and then we'll start working on this other side. Okay, for this other side, I want to make 2 flaps that come down so they kind of flap. You'll be able to open it up. So I'm going to use some craft paper for that. So remember that our pages are 5 1/4 because of the spine. So I'm going to cut this down to 5 inches. So it'll be 8.5 by 5 inches. And then I'm going to cut this in half. So I'm going to cut this at 4 1/4. Okay, so now I have 2 pieces that are the same size. So I'm going to make a little tag shape, and I'm going to put them together when I do this so that they are the same. Okay, so I'm going to score them at a 1/2 inch. Actually, I might do a little more than that. Quarters. Yeah, I'm going to do 3/4. The 1/2 inch just seems a little too small. So I'm going to score it at 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to fold those over. All right. Okay, so let's just take a look at it before we go any further. So here's the little flap. I'm going to glue that down at the bottom, so the flaps will look like this. So it looks like it's going to fit. Everything looks good. Now what I'm going to do, and this isn't necessary, but I'm going to take these to my sewing machine and just sew around just to give it a little extra something. Okay, so that's looking really cute. I'm just going to go ahead and ink around the edges of these as well. Okay, so I've got these all inked. Now before I stick them down, let me show you one of the other ones that I made like this. This one was for Halloween. I just wanted to show you what I'm doing. So see how this has 2 eyelets here, and then it has a button up here, and then we have a piece of this elastic to hold it closed. So before I stick those down, I want to put eyelets on the bottom one, and then a circle closure thing on the top. All right, I'm just going to eyeball this. So I'm going to do the eyelets first. So I just need 2 holes. Not exactly perfect, but it'll work. And puts a little eyelet in. And a little back. And then this tool, you just have to make sure that that little dome part goes into the part that you're trying to crimp. One of these days I'll get a crocodile, but for now this works just fine. I'll put the link for it below if anybody's interested. It's a lot cheaper than a crocodile and works quite well. Plus it comes with a whole bunch of eyelets. So okay, so that's that. Now we're going to do the circle for up here. Punched. Well, I don't want it to be the same color as that though, huh? Actually, that doesn't look too bad. Okay, so this is a 1 1/4 inch circle, and then I've just put I have a tiny hole punch that I put this, punched a hole in the middle of it, of course. That's so that we can put the brad through the middle. And then I have a couple smaller ones just to put underneath, just to give it a little, like, act as spacers, I guess, so it's easier to put the elastic behind the button. So all I need to do now is punch a little hole in this. Okay, so we'll just stick the brad through there, and then put these little guys on there too. Find. And then we're going to have to cover up these feet with something. We will cross that bridge when we come to it. Oh, there we go. So now we can go ahead and glue down the flaps and get that secured down to the page. Okay, I'm going to try to get it as close to the outside edge as I can. Okay, and we'll do the same thing to the top. Hard to tell with this background underneath. I'm lined up. There we go. Just want to make sure that we don't have any glue oozing out. I want to glue it to itself. And I think I'm just going to let this sit for a couple minutes just to make sure that it's stuck down good before I continue on. Okay, so these are dry, ready to go. So the next thing I want to do is just open this up, and I want to put a couple of long sideways pockets. So I went ahead and got this is book page that I covered in gesso and then did some inking, and I've trimmed it down to just under 8.5 by I think 3.5. So this is going to be like the bottom pocket, and then I'm going to put this little scrap like that to make a second more shallow pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those on. Try to get that as straight as possible. Actually, before I do that, I think I might want to put something, maybe some washi tape or something, maybe crossing along here, just so we have something, more layers to look at to help it stay. Maybe something like that. It's just always nice to have some extra layers. Just gives it a little more personality. Okay, and I am going to let this sit for a couple minutes. And then we are going to add another 2 flaps, one flipping down, one flipping up, for extra writing space. So we'll come back to that in just a second. Okay, great. I think these are dry enough so we can move on. So I've just taken some of the background papers from that digital that I showed at the beginning of the video, and I've cut down 2, these will be flip ups. So we'll start with this one, and I'm just going to hinge it with some washi tape. I think I will do this from the bottom. I'll hinge this one so it will flip like that. Stick that here. All right, and then gently fold it over. Okay. Now I'm going to do the other flap, which is this one. And we're going to do the same thing, except I'm going to hinge it at the top. I'm actually going to flip it around so it's easier for me to work on. So yeah, I'm going to do the same thing, and we'll be right back. All right, this is all dry. So let me just show you how this flips out. And then of course we have our 2 pockets here. So now pretty much all we have to do now is decorate it and add tags and stuff like that. So while we have this open, let's see, we want to put some kind of, here's some of the little tags I printed off. We can pop some of those in here. You could add, punch a hole and add some string if you wanted. I think just because I don't want to bulk it up too much, I'm not going to do that, but we can just add a couple things like this. This pocket back here is big enough that you could even put a photo if you wanted to, if there was something like that you wanted to tuck in there. For now, I'm just going to leave that empty. And for here, we can put some kind of embellishments. Maybe something like that. I might want to ink around the edges and possibly put something underneath it too. A little bit of layering, maybe some fabric or another piece of scrap paper or washi tape even. It's Halloween this week, if you're wondering why my nails are so crazy. I thought about redoing them before I did the video, and then I thought, well, I want to wait till after Halloween to redo my nails. So sorry if they're distracting, but they're for Halloween. Okay, I'll just kind of put it ski-wampus like this. And then maybe just put the number. I just did these on the computer. Just did a bunch of random numbers and coffee dyed them and just have them kind of ready to go. So I'll be careful. So on this flap, of course, I mean, we can write on the back of these, right? So that's what the purpose of those flip outs are for. Be a little hard to write on that one, but I guess you could. This one is light enough where you'll be able to write a little bit. We're going to put some in the middle though. Well, let's stick to this one. I have a little coffee stain doily that we could just pop over here. With a little label, and then I'll put it on with a paper clip. Stick that on there. Okay, and so I'll call it good for this one. On this flap, I want to use one of the labels. I was thinking about doing the mustache one, but I want to make it so when these two flaps are closed, we can read that. So just kind of have to decide where I want to put that so we can see it. Down a little bit. Maybe about right there. Yep, perfect. Just want to be able to see that peeking through. Okay, now we need to do the elastic on this. So I just got this. I'll put the link below. It's just elastic string. Got it on Amazon, I think. So I just need to cut a piece. Yeah, so I want the knot. We need the strings going out from here. And we need to tie a knot to make sure that we don't want it to be too tight, but not too loose. I'll just tie it and then hopefully it'll be good. If it's too loose, I can make it a little tighter, but if it's too tight, we might have to start over. But let's just there. I think it might need to be a little bit tighter. So that's okay. I could just tie another knot just a little bit further down. Maybe like this. Oh, I think that'll be just fine. So then I'll just trim that off. And then just scoot the knot so it's through that hole and is hidden back there. Okay, just go ahead and close that. So that looks really good. So we need to cover the brad on this side. So we can do that with washi tape or a sticker. It looks like it'll work. Okay, now for now, I know we still need to do a little bit more. We need to put maybe something here and here, but while that dries, I'm going to move, oops. While that dries, I'm going to move to the other page. So I have a little cluster that I made that I want to here. Just pop that down. This is fabric dyed with rust water. So it has kind of a cool old look to it. And then just a bit of book page and lace. And then just another number that I just made on the computer. And it goes with the Mercantile feel, doesn't it? Okay. And now for this here, I need to decorate. This is going to take a minute. There's lots of little pages. So I think I'm going to put maybe a little pocket here and then maybe a little pocket here. Then we can tuck some of our cute little Mercantile tags into them. So I just want to make a couple shallow. Really, do you think that's too shallow? Might work. So need to just get that border off of there. I moved it. There. Maybe do a little inking. So it's going to be a really shallow pocket, but it will be good enough to add one of our tags to. And the thing about it with this shallow pocket, that leaves a lot of white area or blank area that you could use for writing. Even though it'll be behind a tag, still do that. You know, I need to do the same thing for this one. But I want to check, see what tag I want to, because I want the tag to poke up a little bit. And I think all of my tags that I have ready are shorter. So maybe I will want to put the pocket up a little higher. And I might want to just do something like this. I'll do that. So my thought is, instead of gluing down 3 sides, I will just glue down the bottom edge, and it will be kind of like a tuck spot, because the label or the tag is almost as wide as the area So if I do something like that, it will tuck in. So I need it right about there. And again, I'm just going to do one side, just the bottom. Measure that again. Right there. Okay, when that dries, that one will go in there. Okay. Now, of course, we can add more things to the insides. We'll stick that one down there. Okay. Once these dry, we'll put those tags in there. On the front here, not sure. Yeah, I think I want to use this one, but I need something behind it because that's a little bit too plain. All right, I just got this little scrap of fabric. I'm going to stick that down behind it, and then I inked around the edges a little bit darker than it was before on that little label. So hopefully this will help us out a little bit. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put something here. So the cool thing about this page layout, I guess you'd call it, is it's like interactive. You can add a lot of embellishments, photos, tags, cards. You can add a lot more than I have on this video. There's plenty of room to add more things. And then you can just add it into a journal. You can, sandwich it in between a couple of normal signatures that have a lot of writing pages, and then just pop this one in, put a couple of them even in a journal. So, I mean, yeah, it takes up a little room if you do the margin like this, but I think it's really cool because it kind of allows for that extra space that all of these flips and fold outs and pockets are taking up. So I think my phone is about to die, so I might have to end this, but just pop a couple things in here. And hopefully my phone will stay going for a minute longer. And then, of course, there's a tuck back here, too. The cool thing about that is if you put something big enough, it will hold this one closed. So you don't have to worry about it popping open. I mean, that tag is doing that, but you can add another tag in back here, and that will keep that one closed. So there you go. I think I'm about out of battery. Thank you for watching. I will put all the links below for everything I mentioned. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye, guys.